What's going on, everybody? My name is Pete Rogers. I am here to provide you guys with UFC Vegas 63's best bets. And on behalf of Odd Shopper, I'm here to kind of locate some of these safer plays for us and some of the bets that I find with the most value and the ones that I am going to be personally targeting. Not the best card, but it's a card, and it's a card for us to place some wagers on, increase that bankroll, and make some of the fights a little bit more exciting when you have something on the line. But if you are a safer player, I might suggest sitting this weekend out. But you're listening to this video, I'm guessing that you're a hardcore, you're trying to win some money. So let's start it off with bet number one, Christian Rodriguez against Joshua Weems. I really like Christian Rodriguez here, so I'm going to be targeting the inside the distance prop. Sits at plus 100. I really think that Christian Rodriguez impressed me and so many people throughout the MMA industry when he debuted on short notice against Jonathan Pierce, who is honestly a very, very tough out, a very strong wrestler, a solid striker, but a fighter who, pushes an extremely high pace and is going to test you in all areas of the fight. We saw Christian Rodriguez put, his cardio on display, his striking skills, and his submission grappling. And, he had to deal with a ton of adversity throughout that bout, but he was moments away from finishing Jonathan Pierce, who is going to be a force within this division multiple times. He had Jonathan Pierce in some of the tightest guillotines I've seen in a very long time. On the feet, he had him rocked and hurt. And I would love to see what Christian Rodriguez looks like with a full camp. So now we have Joshua Weems stepping up on short notice, a guy who was on the Contender Series and was finished against Fernie Garcia with an overhand right en route to some ground and pound. So I do think that, Joshua Weems pushes the action and is going to be pressing forward against Christian Rodriguez, which could result in some of the best moments from Christian Rodriguez. And from what I've seen from Weems throughout his record, even going back to his amateur days, in his losses, he tends to get finished via strikes. I really like Christian Rodriguez to hurt him on the feet, but I've seen Weems look for the takedown when he gets hurt. So I'm not ruling out a submission finish, which is why I'm going to be targeting the inside the distance prop for Christian Rodriguez, which sits at plus 100. Our next bet of the evening is going to be targeting Josh Fremd against Tresean Gore. Now, I have to tell you that I was a Tresean Gore guy. I liked him on The Ultimate Fighter, and then following The Ultimate Fighter, I thought that he had some of the skills to make some noise within the division. Relatively green, but I think that he is a busted prospect, if you will. He's still relatively new to MMA, and he has tons of room to work with and grow. But I do think that there is a large disparity here between the experience of Josh Fremd, who sits at 9-3, versus Tresean Gore, who's 3-2, in addition to having some of that Ultimate Fighter experience. I like Josh Fremd here, sitting at minus 155. It was a very tough task for him to come in and debut against Anthony Hernandez, who has looked to be like a force within the division, pushing at a tremendous pace. Kind of similar to Jonathan Pierce, to be honest, where Christian Rodriguez debuted against a tough foe. Josh Fremd debuted against a tough foe as well. Fremd on the feet has good striking, pretty big guy, 6'4", 77-inch reach. On the mat, he will hunt submissions as well. He seems to be a little bit more well-rounded than Tresean Gore. And Tresean Gore doesn't seem like he can get out of his own way. He doesn't let his hands go too often. And when he is so calculated in there, he's losing minutes within an MMA fight. And I do think that, just being a little too tentative at times is truly going to hurt Tresean Gore, as it has done in the past. Not even mentioning that he's coming off of his first knockout defeat to Cody Brundage, who is not really a knockout guy. Brundage hit him with overhand right en route to ground and pound. And it kind of blew my mind because Tresean Gore has very, very strong striking and chops at the legs really good and can defend takedowns decently well. Haven't really seen him be able to dig deep with his gas tank as some other fighters like a Josh Fremd has been in there with some absolute killers on the regional scene. So when he got knocked out against Cody Brundage, it was like, okay, now I don't know how he's going to respond to this. Never mind the fact that knockout came 3 months ago. So I used to have a rule where I don't like to back fighters coming off of a knockout defeat unless it's close to a year after. This is a little bit too soon for Tresean Gore. So The Josh Fremd line sitting at minus 155 is something I think is going to get inflated over time. And I'm going to be looking to target it because I think he has multiple paths to victory. I think he's the better minute winner, and I don't have to worry about him letting his hands go. He's going to let it all fly. He's going to attempt takedowns. He's going to try to win as many minutes as possible, whereas Tresean Gore is just going to look for that perfect shot, which may never come. So second bet of the evening is going to be Josh Fremd sitting there at minus 155. If you guys are looking to increase your bankroll for the fights this weekend, I suggest taking advantage of this Bet MGM offer we have for you, where if you bet $10, you can win $200 if any NBA team hits a three-pointer tonight. Money line bets only, first-time Bet MGM users only, but it's a great way to increase that bankroll, let that money flow, play some of these bets, some of these wagers, sit back and watch the fights. Our third bet of the evening is going to be targeting Junyong Park, sitting at minus 215. And I really like him here in this matchup against Joseph Holmes, just because of the experience. Joseph Holmes is a massive man for this division, so Junyong Park is going to have to close the distance early, not be at the end of the punches and at long distance. Junyong Park, he pushes a high pace and he has a decent volume for the division. But he needs to get close ASAP because Joseph Holmes can hit you with straight punches from a very, very far distance with an 80-inch reach, standing at 6'4", whereas Junyong Park is only 73-inch reach. So we're talking about a 7-inch reach disadvantage for Junyong Park, and that's kind of why I like him here in this matchup, because I don't truly love him in a striking matchup against some big fighters who can test that chin of his. I want him to close the gap, get into the wrestling, make it dirty, make it ugly. And we've seen him go to the takedowns in the past. And I don't really buy the Joseph Holmes hype. When Joseph Holmes had his fight against Jamie Pickett, and we saw Jamie Pickett go in there and, control position against the cage, land takedowns, push a higher pace than Joseph Holmes. It looked like a fighter who is so accustomed to being the bully that he was getting bullied in there against Jamie Pickett. So he's great when he's the hammer. He's not so great when he's being the nail. So I like fighters that can dig deep a little bit better. And I have seen so much more from Junyong Park. And, we have seen him go to the takedown well. John Phillips, who is not a takedown, not a wrestler by any means, and can take it down by almost anybody. But Junyong Park had 13 minutes of control time, went 4 of 4 in the takedown department. And I know that he can go in there and replicate something similar. A more talented fighter in Andre Barrio, he attempted 10 takedowns and landed 5 of them. So I'm banking on Junyong Park closing that gap, making it ugly, getting in there, testing Holmes in all areas. He's a decent enough striker that he could hurt him on the feet or on ground with ground and pound. Just needs to avoid the big long shots of Joseph Holmes and the sneaky submissions. But I actually thought that this line would be a little bit way out of whack, and minus 215 for the resume that Junyong Park has in comparison to the Joseph Holmes resume, it's not even close. And finally, our sprinkle bet, our bonus bet of the evening. But before that, make sure you guys hit that like button for me. If you guys could subscribe to the channel, I really appreciate it. More importantly, though, I would really like to hear from you guys down in the comments. Let me know your best bets for UFC Vegas 63. Our sprinkle bet of the evening is going to be piggybacking off of Junyong Park. And we're gonna look to target that, Junyong Park inside the distance line at plus 200. I spoke of the resumes of both of these fighters and the experience gap. I expected Junyong Park to be sitting within the minus 300 range. So when I saw that he was minus 215, I think there's tons of value on that. I also think that Joseph Holmes doesn't have the best gas tank. And when I was watching the Jamie Pickett fight, he's getting hit with big shots and he's not showing the best. He's not showing the best body language. In addition to that, he's making some errors. So I do think that a finish for Junyong Park is something that he needs to kind of rebound. And yeah, he has a win over Eric Anders, but it was a split decision. He wants to go back in there and pick up his first finish within the UFC. Picking up 3 decisions over Tafon and Chukwe, John Phillips, and Marc-Andre Barrio, and then most recently Eric Anders. I really think that there's some value on this line. Plus 200, a little bit sneaky. He has some good submission skills. He has some good ground and pound. He is pretty talented in the striking department as well. And I just view this as a regional fighter against a UFC level competitor. So Give me Junyong Park inside the distance, sitting there at plus 200 as our sprinkle bet of the evening in hopes that we can hit that as well. Well, there you have it, guys. There's our 3 best bets of the evening for UFC Vegas 63 on behalf of OddsShopper. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning into another edition. I would really like to hear from you guys down in the comments. Again, before you head out, if you could hit that like button, subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of our content. I'd really, really appreciate it. I'll be back next week for another edition of Best Bets on behalf of OddsShopper. Good luck, guys. Let's make some money.